Warning, Archer's Garage Live is not suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion advised.
Oh, are we live? Oh, I'm here. Hopefully everybody else is here. At some point, what is Johnny? Wait, Johnny. Johnny Bravo says, hold on, let me see what he says. Let's see, do I have audio? Yeah, I should have audio. It should be good enough. What's up, Johnny? Johnny Bravo says, that lathe bit making springs just screws my head up. Video refresh rate, spot on RPM of the chuck. I never noticed it. I don't know. What does it do? Like, what is it? What do you mean it messes you up? Like is it go backwards or something like? Because you see that sometimes when when something's out of sync. Could be on your end or could be just a conflicting frame rate. A lot of times you'll see that when I watch. Sometimes when I watch some of the machining videos, I'll see that, and a guy will say, I put up like a text that like what you're seeing is backwards because of something with the frame rate. There used to be a thing years ago too, like with a lot of stuff on TV. You'd see it would look like the wheels were moving backwards on a car or a bicycle. So we got a couple of people here. Kind of wait a little bit and see if anybody else shows up, see what's going on. I'm just sort of hanging out. The ladies are over there. I don't know. They were thinking they were going to light a fire or something. I'm like, go ahead. I'm going live. You should have said something to me before. I think it's my ex and her girlfriend. If I see a big whoosh, out the window here, I'm going to go running out and check on them. Johnny says, can I bring you guys a beer? I made a beer run this. Yeah, I could definitely use a beer. I'm having a glass of wine with an ice cube in it. A small little glass, right? And some coffee and a snack and some water. Yeah, I could use a beer right now. Well, they started, I guess they're drinking over there. So they were going to go out and check out a band or whatever. But I guess they decided, when there's alcohol involved. Yeah, it's not that good with ice in it, but I didn't want to take the whole bottle. Mela says, hey, Archie and Johnny. Last week I started a live, but we didn't pay the current bill. And turns out they throttle you. So what they were worried about was, like, I've had the same internet provider, which is not American, and they're European now. Everybody's bought out somebody else for like 28 years is some ridiculous number, but they still treat you like crap. Like, what do you we almost always like pay it 1 month behind because that's just the way we've been doing it for years, because what am I going to pay you for service that you haven't even given me yet? That's what they want. So I'm laughing with the guy. He wouldn't admit to it. I checked everything. I rebooted everything. No. Plus Saturday night, I noticed sometimes because of everything that goes on in town, and that's where the node is, and then 2 streets over, they have like basically free wireless. And then in town, you see like free wireless. Here, let me show you. So I checked it just before I went on, but it could change at any moment. Let's see. Should pick it up. So that's what it was a few minutes ago, like 5-10 minutes ago. So 94.65 megabits per second down and 94.80 up. And I was something like this. I was 3.88 down and 1.51 up. I'm like, bro, that's just, I can't do anything. I'm like, instead of like cutting you off completely, they were like, all right, let me get this out of the way. They just kind of bog you down. almost completely. So let me make sure I'm not going to cancel out anything. So that's what they did. He goes, what year is the wine that you... I have no idea. It's just alcohol. Like, I don't care. I don't know. It was some bottle. There's some bottle of wine that my ex likes that I don't know if it's that one or whatever, but she gets it out east and they actually serve it warm. And I got to tell you, it's like a spiced wine. I've tried it cold and it is better warm. I don't know if that's the same stuff because a girlfriend has wine too. And I heard them talking like, oh, I got wine. I'll bring mine over. Don't worry about it. We'll get all sauced up. It's kind of sweet. That's why I put some ice in it because I don't want it too sweet, right? Because then I gotta go check my blood then, like right away. I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that. So anyway, so I went through all that business. By the time we paid him a little bit of money, and then that night they gave me a little bit more speed back, but I was like, that's not going to be enough, right? That's definitely not going to be enough. So, and it got late. And I was like, I'm done. So I made sure that they had sent somebody out on a Wednesday, and yet another Russian guy, an actual immigrant though. Like these are like he kind of mentioned. I didn't really even ask him, but he said, because he had to come over the old-fashioned way, with a ticket and everything, and then actually learn English and become an American citizen. Younger fellow. Yeah, he's not happy with what's been going on. But that said, right, he checked everything out. And he actually gave me some good, interesting ideas, some good ideas. But we checked it with my equipment, with his phone, with their app. And we plugged in a bunch of different things. And I told him the story. This has happened before. So that's why we checked a lot of stuff, right? And he gave me some good tips. Because that speed that I showed you is nowhere near the speed that I'm actually paying for. But the the trunk lines that I ran underground, I did that years ago, and they're only like Cat 5, Cat 5e. So I have gigabit internet, and he's like, "Well, why don't you put in an airline? I already have like a line between the two buildings that it's a clothesline, and it's up pretty high, and I could go up a little higher and then just put a outdoor rated line in, and I would have close to a gig. It's like 800 and something megabits, but not 80 or 84, but 800 and something. So, but I would still need to do all of the little, connectivity and stuff between different things. And I really need more than one line. So maybe in the winter or when it gets cooler out, if I have enough money, I'll buy, I don't know, several hundred feet. I had like 1,000 foot at one point. I did the whole house. But I'll buy whatever. I suggested the same thing to Ken. I actually showed him. I'm like, I found it on Amazon. I'm like, buy these connectors, and run hard line, Cat 6, Cat 7, something like that. Cat 8 you don't need. It's very expensive, but run like Cat 7, and just run it. And he's like, yeah, I can do it. I don't know if he ever did it, but that's the best way. And then you can use your wireless routers to do whatever else you want to do on top of that. But you need a good hard line. And I was showing this film, because I have that nice Asus Zen router. And, it's got like 4-core processor in it, shit ton of RAM, and it can connect to other routers of its kind, right? So it's a mesh router as well. I don't have the money for another router. I have an older router here that works okay. Just to give me more connectivity here and some more, secured wireless, because it's just too far from the house. So we'll see. I might just pull line, and be done with it. Pull 2 lines and then do all the interconnections and throw out all the old line. See, somebody said something. Some guy. Well, some guy commented on one of my videos. I wonder what it was. Can I see it from here? I think I can. Yeah, I can see it from this one. Let's see. He goes, "Hey, Arch, is it common for the intake valves to get stuck open on these GCV 190s, having one popping through the intake?" Not really. And this other guy asked me if I would happen to know the part number of those springs on a small 3.5. No, I don't know any of that stuff. I don't, you have to go look it up. People don't want to look at anything. Like, I don't know why. Just, they're sitting there with a phone commenting. They could just as easily look up a part on something. But I guess people don't know how, Go to Stens or go to Parts Tree Direct or go to... There's a whole bunch of places. I have another place that I always forget the name of, but I have it written down somewhere. Yeah, it says, Robert Malice goes, internet stuff drives Archie crazy. It does. Sometimes I need to upgrade the rest of it. I mean, I did upgrade the service. I upgraded a few things out here, but then, enough is enough. I got to get to doing other things, and I got it working better. But I guess if you don't pay your bill, right, they shut you off, right? Isn't that... Robert goes, oh, man, I just installed new computer this week just to produce videos. Loving it. Yeah, you mentioned that like 2 weeks ago or something, that you were fooling around, big screen, a bunch of other stuff. The only thing I want to do other than that is I do want to buy my software, my editing software, just because it has a few more features. And also, like a lot of things, I mean, you can own the software. DaVinci, you get to own it. You can use it for free, but they kind of castrate you a bit, right? They don't allow your video card to really, truly be accessed by the program. And that's where most of the calculations are done. So whatever video card you have, if you have a nice one, if you don't own the software, you can't take full advantage of it. So things will be a little slower, and then when you render out a video, it'll be a little slower. I don't know. This computer has got, what has it got? Like 12 cores, 24 logical cores, 12 physical cores, and it is older, but it's a decent machine. It's got like 64 gigabits of RAM. Like, it works okay. It's just older. I don't really have a problem with it, but I think I would like to own the software. Most of the other software on Adobe is you gotta lease it by the month, and I'm not interested in that. I don't want to do that. It's a good company. This box that I have over here is made by them, and Black Magic Design. They're good stuff. They're professional. So, Bravo goes. He goes, you're a DaVinci, I think, right? Yeah. Some people like the shortcut and whatever. It just depends upon, like how involved you want to get. I mean, I have a lot of videos. Now I have like 2 years worth of videos stored away on this computer. And I like to throw in the B-roll and occasionally a little bit of music and just do different stuff with it. And, a more professional software is just, for me, it's just easier to use. I have these nice big monitors, so I can kind of get in there and really see what's going on. It's so much easier. And I can enjoy it because, you got to have fun. And it's got to be, for me, it's like part hobby. So I want to enjoy it from that aspect. And, if you're just doing simple stuff, especially, you don't need extravagant software or anything. I can't do it on a phone. I don't have a good phone. This too old, right? I can't really keep saying it. I can't do it. These are better, but, I use these as cameras. I got 2 of them. This is actually the one that's not as good as the other one that I have. It's in the drawer. I just need to buy another micro SD card and set that one up too, and then I'll have 2 to use. I just haven't done it. Let's see. Brett says, Rob, wait, hold on. Bravo goes, I have DaVinci Resolve on my computer, but it's way overkill for what I do. Yeah, absolutely. And you don't want, and then Robert Malice goes, Brett is coming over in a few. What is he? He's walking the cat, right? You don't want to, you don't want something that's going to make you uncomfortable. Some of the younger fellas, they do it on their phone because they can see. I can't see. Plus, I've been using monitors like this, to modify software and game files and play games and do all that kind of stuff. And AutoCAD and, you name it, all that kind of stuff. SolidWorks and stuff like that for years, on and off over the years. So I'm just going to work in the environment the way that I work and, enjoy what I'm doing. And I actually use a lot of the features. So it's fun. I enjoy it. And I just think owning it would be a little bit better. And then, I could take advantage of some of the other features. And it would definitely allow more of the horsepower that I currently have to be utilized. And the other thing, too, is if I ever decide to build a newer computer, well, the computer would be completely, at that point, overkill for the software, because the software would be bottlenecking a really, really good computer if I decided to invest in, like, totally upscale. So I figured do it in stages. I kind of got the internet working better, so I can upload my files. The 30-minute video in 4K takes me about 30 minutes, for it to upload. At the internet speed I had, it was like a day and a half. And if anything happens to your connection, or you want to shut your computer off or restart it, you're back at the beginning, because there's no intelligent recovery or smart recovery on Google and YouTube. So if you break that connection, right, you're starting all over again. So I really had to focus on the internet first. And like I said, I bought that nice router and everything else. That costs money, and so all this is money. So you just enjoy it and do a little bit at a time, and do what you feel you need to get the work done. And then you upscale as you go. Let's see. You go, Robert Miles goes, see, because he was running his 2-cycle equipment. Just got through talking to him. Nice. Robert goes, the new Shotcut has new 15-band equalizers and multi-channel surround editing. Yeah, yep. I'm way more into the sound than the video. Well, DaVinci's got a wonderful sound package that you can fool around with it. That's for sure. And they just keep upscaling it. Robert says, I just wish I could freaking hear. Yeah, right. Because now your hearing's damaged that we're getting older and listening to loud music for too long. Yeah, listen to Ozzy Osbourne. God bless. Hopefully he's all right. Hopefully he didn't go down to the downstairs place and maybe he went upstairs. I don't know. And this man was what did he call himself? Right, the Prince of Darkness. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? I think Ted Nugent said, he goes, I love him, I miss him, but he really he did not take advantage of the Lord's gifts. He just stayed with the dark side. Really, you saw Ozzy? I saw him years ago. Can you hear me now, Johnny? Yeah. I definitely cut my teeth playing guitar and stuff. Playing music and everything on some of Ozzy's early shit. Yep. Black Sabbath and stuff like that. Did a lot of that years ago. That was fun. It was fun. It was just, I found it to be too dark. The music is too dark. I'm not interested in the dark element. Right? Not interested. I don't need to go there. So many of the bands decided to go there. And I remember 2 years ago, like I was into Clapton and everything. I remember my friend Bill, we played Cocaine, right? And then he finishes... We finished the song, and he kind of gets up from his drum set, all hot and sweaty, picking his ass. He goes, I'm done with playing these stupid drug songs. No more. I won't play them anymore. I'm like, I don't blame you, bro. It's too bad, because it was an easy song to warm up with, and you can kind of get everybody to play it. But, yeah, I hear you. And, like, we didn't do any drug songs after that. No more. I don't care whether it was pro or negative or whatever. Like, yeah, I hear you. There's no need. There's just no need. Yeah, Dark Element is a metal symphonic band now. Is that right? Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm gonna take a piss in a minute. I gotta go. I was kind of getting ready for tonight, just hanging out a little bit, doing a few things, and then, like, I forgot. I'm like, I should go to the bathroom before I start. Oh, too late now. All right. Especially when I drink wine. Yeah, after midnight. Oh, yeah. I played all of that stuff. Oh, yeah. Well, this was in the 90s and some of the early 80s, 90s, and some of the early 2000s. So you're going to play what a lot of us rock and blues guys, would hear and would want to play. And we did some of the somewhat newer music. We even did some Hootie and the Blowfish, and, for the ladies, For the ladies. It was fun. Brett goes, hey, Brett. He goes, there's my press of the like button. And yeah, everybody hit the like button. Brett hit the like button. You can hit the like button once on your own videos. I didn't realize that. So now I'm like, all right, well, I get to hit the like button too. You can also hit the unlike button, or you can hit the like button twice. Which means it's an unlike. Robert goes, saw Hootie and the Blowfish in a small bar in Guntersville, Alabama. That's sweet. I think they still play, don't they? Didn't want. I mean, it seems like of every band that I liked from back in the day, at least one or all of the people are no longer with us. Robert Miles goes, he goes, when my dad passed away, I couldn't listen to My Father's Eyes. Yeah, of course. Yeah, some of that stuff, Tears in Heaven and all. I'm like, ooh, you know, yeah. It's just there's some things I just don't want to do anymore. You know. Especially if you like learning stuff for a band. By the time you get good at it, you've already played it 5,000 times. Like, you don't want to hear it anymore. You don't even want to go near it. Yeah, because some of that stuff is depressing. You know, honestly, that's good because if it makes you feel an emotion, that's actually appropriate. It's like a lot of songs from like the 60s. I would actually tear up when I would listen to Sir with Love, right? Because that song is a well-arranged. That was a really good movie. And it was a good song. And it just had the right feel. I mean, back in those days, they actually wrote music. You know, they actually played actual music and it wasn't computer. Now they got AI. I was listening to a discussion the other day about this new AI music that you can custom configure to kind of give it whatever, you know, give it whatever you want. We have to be careful moving forward because like on YouTube, I mean on TV to some degree, yeah, for sure. But on YouTube, I'm already seeing like so many of these commercials, they're all AI. Like we can't believe anything. Not only does the government and you know, mainstream TV lie to us all the time, but now it'll be not even real people lying. Now they can just get AI to lie to us. The movies will be AI, and that's a lie. The people that say that they're women, they're not, they're guys, that's a lie, and vice versa. And then the AI is a lie, and they're lying. The music is going to be a lie. Like everything is like, welcome to fake world. I think that's why some of like this regular YouTube stuff will probably get maybe even popular. Like they'll watch some guy like me doing a lawnmower show. Why? Because there's just no way AI is ever going to do a lawnmower show. So people will be like, all right, well, this at least is going to be real, right? I don't know. Maybe I hope, right? I don't know. Maybe for a while it'll take a crap because everybody will be so into the fake AI crap that it'll push all the real stuff aside, but eventually people will get sick of it. They're going to be like, I'm sick of being lied to all the time, which is kind of what's been happening, you know, anyway, in the sort of political, social world, sociopolitical world. Yeah, Sidney Poitier. Yeah, Bad Love with Phil Collins on the drums. I know, and it was sad what happened to him. You know, he's all messed up now. Yeah, Sidney Poitier was a great actor. Who did, that was... let's see, To Sir with Love. Let's see, the song. No, it was a girl. She was really popular. Lulu. It was Lulu, 1967 film. And I think they did another one in 96. Yeah. Yeah, she was really popular. You can watch the movie. You can pick it up on YouTube. It was a good movie. You know, let's see. Brett goes, 2 songs that turn this stone-hearted tough guy into a bawling baby is The Way We Were and I Honestly Love You by Olivia Newton-John. That reminds me of my first love and our breakup. Sure, it should always be. That's the beauty of music. There should. See, that's the thing with like real music when it's written really well. And human experiences is we tend to tie the two together to something in our life. And if that can happen, it's magic, even if it makes you want to go slit your throat, right? But so what? Like that, it should have an impact, and that's how you know it. They nailed it, and they nailed it with you and your life, and that's a good thing, right? It just sucks in a way, but it's a good thing. Yeah, Barbra Streisand did The Way We Were, right? I think that was her, you know, back in the day when she was doing her thing. Yeah, she was a good singer. She was, you know, she was good for what she was and what she did. You know, I don't have any issues with her. She had talent. You know, now they say that like people don't have talent like they did. I don't know what happened, but that might be true. It could be true because of the way it took humans to work out their talent years ago. And then also, for what I've heard, the way the different industries would nurture talent. It doesn't happen like that anymore. Everybody's greedy and they want the fast track. And so they pray to Satan. It's so weird. It's literally gotten that way. It's just so weird. Yeah. And auto-tune, which is just a mess. Remember when Cher used it excessively, like to show everybody that this is auto-tune? Yeah. And she got away with it for a little while, but it was obvious that she was deliberately showing it off. But she had talent on her own. You know? I remember when I was a kid, I saw the Sonny and Cher hour. You know? I was old enough to be able to watch that with my parents. Carol Burnett and all those other like variety shows that were out back then. They were pretty good. I don't remember like the Dean Martin show. I think that was way ahead of my time. But there were a few others, you know, that I managed to catch on reruns and stuff. It was some good stuff, you know. Robert Miles goes, Phil Collins did that song. Do you remember Hits Me Like a Train? I don't know what that is. I remember Phil Collins doing soundtracks for Miami. Is that right? Well, Genesis, you know, I mean, I haven't really cared for Genesis, but they were a happening thing for a long time. They were innovative. Brett goes, back when she was young, my mom kind of looked like Barbara. Cool. When mom used to go to clubs in New York City, they used to sing Hello, Dolly when mom walked in. Nice, nice. Yeah, I remember that song. Yeah, all the old hits were like kind of fun. You know, as I heard them all, and that's what got me into music. You know, for a long time, that was some of the old stuff that my parents saw Elvis, they saw Liberace, right? I remember, I don't know if it was a Doors concert or I remember it was an outside event. I was very, very young. My mother took me. Sometimes she would take my sister to play and me to places, and I remember hearing Light My Fire for the first time. And I remember thinking, holy crap, what is that? And I was just too young to remember if it was usually they went to live concerts back in the day because it was outside like this time of year, because there was never a thing where there was like a DJ, right? That really wasn't a thing that they did. Or that was even really a thing. And we're talking, I was very young. And I remember it was a beautiful night. I remember the sun going down, and I remember hearing Light My Fire for the first time. And I was like, oh my God, what is that, right? That stayed with me to now. It was and I'm like with my mom, and I think my sister was there. I don't know if my dad was there or not. I don't remember. I don't think I was in the stands. I think I was off somewhere else because I was so young that I would wander around the parks and places where we had all this stuff. I was more interested in just, I was a kid. And I could never sit still. So even to this day, you guys know that I can't effing sit still. Brett goes, believe it or not, I can sing, just not on my YouTube videos. Nice. Can you sing Far, Far Away? Light my the Doors back in the day. Yeah, the Doors were awesome. Yeah, they were really good. I thought they were a little too freaky, right? Because some of that was just that weird music that they did. I wasn't really into the LSD trips and a lot of bands. Even Pink Floyd, like sometimes Pink Floyd would annoy me. Zappa would annoy me sometimes, some of my friends were into that, and I always thought everybody seemed to have a whole bunch of songs that I liked, and then it almost didn't matter, other than I don't think that there were a couple of bands I think that I could play the B-side on and be into some of the B-side. But you guys remember back in the day, the B-side was never really intended to do anything. It was filler, right? And some of it was pretty good. I remember Foreigner had Tramontaine on the B-side. I thought that was a cool song. And I don't remember what Boston put on the B-side. I don't remember. But most of their songs were pretty freaking me out, back in those days. In that day, I remember I was like, what is this? And then I remember Queen coming out with Bohemian Rhapsody, and I was like, what the hell is this? Right? And I kind of remember there was a period of time for a while where bands would come out with stuff and I'd be like, what's this now? Like, what the hell's happening? Like, music got really good for a little while. I thought like it was getting intense. And then we had this sort of second British invasion, which was, or I should say European invasion. And there was some really cool bands that came out with some interesting stuff. Duran Duran and a few others, which I thought some of that music was good. Like, I didn't want to play it or anything, but I thought it was still interesting. Not everything has to be just rock and roll and blues, Yeah, Jimi Hendrix, yeah. Yeah, we played a whole bunch of his tunes, too. Although, he was noisy. Like, that, when he would play live, I mean, I guess for the day, for that period of time, it was sort of freakish and wild, and everybody was attracted to it. But I bought up a whole bunch of albums that were from all of the tapes and stuff of Hendrix Garage Band series. And I remember we were sitting around one day, and I was playing it on my stereo system at the old place. My friend Arthur and my ex-wife, my future ex-wife, and a bunch of other people were all hanging out. And Arthur goes, it's all the stuff he never wanted you to hear. I'm like, yeah, but he's dead for a long time, and we're not making fun of him. I mean, that's what we sound like sometimes, garage band. It's all the stuff that sucked. And it did make it to a recording, and eventually they released it on a couple of albums, and I found them, and I played them. I don't know if I still have those albums. It was okay, but it was just noisy and very garage band-esque. And then there was some stuff, too, that they came out with the Beatles that they released that was very garage band-esque. That's how a lot of people start. That's what it sounds like when you first start doing stuff and it's not produced and you don't have money thrown at you. And you sound like a garage band, And, even as much as I like Led Zeppelin, most of the time, I mean, I really like certain things that Led Zeppelin do, right? But I've heard a lot of Zeppelin, and a lot of it is noisy crap. And Jimmy Page sometimes is just the sloppiest, god-awful player. Like, I don't know if it was the heroin, or I don't know, or just sometimes you're just not that good. And he was like that. The band sometimes just didn't. And then, years later when he would play with all these other bands, like, I'm like, meh. They sounded okay, and, but I was like, I could skip that. I'm moving on, The Salt Parade of the Doors, yeah. Now, let's see, let's put this up. Let's see, split screen. I gotta disassociate this. Hop out the chat. Is this thing? Yeah. Then I gotta split screen. That's 810 camera. Split screen. Then go like that. It's a little bit better. Yeah, for the Miami Vice. Yeah, I kind of remember it now more thinking. I thought that was good. And by the way, there was a number of movies, I should say, that came out. And there's one, I can't think of who it was, but they used to do a lot of the helicopter flyovers over whatever city. And it was Page that wrote the soundtrack for it. And you see it in the credits later on. I just can't remember the movie it was. But it was a pretty popular movie. I don't think, it might have been even a Bronson movie, like a Mechanic or something like that. Soft Parade. Brett goes, I like the Soft Parade by the Doors. It changes tempo like 4 or 5 times. Bro, this is crap. Back in the late 60s, early 70s, there were these 8 to 12-hour outdoor concerts at Legion Field, Birmingham, Alabama. Everybody who was anybody, sure, played at that scene. Absolutely. Yeah, even here on Long Island, like, I remember the WLIR, I was young, they would have the party in the park, and it was all day. Oh my, I've been to a few of those. And I saw Al Di Meola, Larry Carlton. I saw a lot. I saw the Good Rats. I saw so many people there like that just in a day, right? And like you could cover. Yep. And I remember it. Sure, Johnny. Yeah. Johnny goes, I remember wanting to head to Yasgur's Field in '69. Didn't have the money. Bummer. Yep. Yeah, that would have been a trip from Alabama, but people came from all over. Yep. Robert says, I love Cream. The songs I love are Sunshine of Your Love. Yep. Badge. And the White Roof, Strange Brew. Those are the songs. I didn't do Strange Brew, but those are some of the first songs. Sunshine was like one of the first songs I learned because it was easy. And then Badge was more complicated, and that took, I didn't start playing Badge properly until like sometime in the 90s because that was a harder song. That's how it goes. It's B-A-D-G-E. I don't know, in their communications with each other, they got screwed up, and it wound up that became the name, but that wasn't the original name of that tune, because they were calling out chords to one another, and somehow or other became the name. Musicians are so cool sometimes. And they left it. Yep. It was a good combination, the two of them. Yeah, absolutely. Even though they were sleeping with each other's ladies and everything. Oh, jeez. Cream, the songs. Yep. Yeah, it was good. The Black Keys. Yeah, I like the Black Keys. Wasn't the Black Eyed Peas. I know they were stupid. Newer band, but their style's old rock and blues sound. Yep. Good tunes, Robert. Says you definitely got that right, Brett. Just like Abacab. Yeah. Yep. I could just see sitting around, you're getting tired, maybe a little tipsy, right? Smoke a little too much, drink a little too much, and you go, well, what do you want to name it? I don't know. I've heard some great stories about how they come up with names for songs. It's Tina. What's Tina say? The Cats Are in the Window. Cats in the Cradle. That was a great song. It was just so much good music. It drove me nuts. Trying to consume all that content and learn how to play it, and a song would come to your head. That's why I got to fix my acoustic, because the acoustic was the kind of thing, I broke it a couple of years ago. Like that guitar I broke, same way. Because it was just easier than electric. You hear a song in your head, suddenly now you can't get rid of it until you pick up a guitar and at least play something of it. Like, you don't have to play the whole thing, but just like play something of it, and then it's out of your system for a little while. Because one of the things that a musician has the advantage of is that we all get a song stuck in our head, but a musician can actually, even if they're not that good, they can just go and pick up whatever instrument, or if they can sing, they can just sing it and kind of clear it, like purge it from the index, right? And it's like, next. So I wanted to talk to you guys. I'm gonna go pee, but Phil, in the air tonight. That was a good one. Teenage Wasteland. I saw. I don't know. Right. I don't know the Teenage Wasteland thing, but Tina needs to join another live. I think she's at her boyfriend's house. I saw a performance of The Who. It happened to catch it because I have my Facebook feeds trained for certain things. Right. You know how like you can actually train to some degree with YouTube and whatever. So I saw in France one of the early performances of Substitute. It was crap, but it was crap, but it was so garage band. But for the day, and also when they did that song, they actually hadn't been around. And I only say it's crap because when you get to like Rain, I think that's the name of the song, Rain on Me. The composition of that with the descending and ascending line that's followed by the sort of a lead. That's a tremendous song, and it's also a stadium tune, which is a whole nother thing as well. They have a number of songs that you can see that at some point they blossomed into stuff that just will always be that damn good, I think, from now until the end of time, right? Like, you can't, not everything is going to be mint, but it was an interesting song, and it was kind of a socio-political statement, right? You're going to get that. Baba O'Reilly, yeah. Dolan says, meow, you guys. Yeah, who's going to feed me? Yeah, all the usual suspects are in the house. They sit in the bathroom window. It's a small window, and they all kind of, I think only 3 of them can really get in there, so one of them gets left out. Roxy was just here for pets. Yeah, she meowed high. So I kind of guilted the ladies into keeping the other cat, right? They call him Beanie. I call him kind of gray. There's two black hats, but this one's got gray. He was the last one out of Marley, Mama Marley, right? So he's a little bit more of a loner. He's kind of skittish. He sometimes trails his mother. He has his mom's eyes and his mom's head. And he was a little small. I mean, he got more aggressive, but they were like going to give him away. And I'm like, the good Lord blessed us with these really cool cats. Like, we're never going to do anything like this again, I don't think. And they don't eat any more than the big dog ate. Honestly, I get that, neuter and spay. They had Mama spayed, and so she walked around with the collar on. So she was miserable. She's not quite the same. We didn't think she would be because she doesn't have those hormones raging. But she's gotten better. However, now even though we've had animals forever, we've never really had cats. So Mama goes in to the vet, and she comes back, and we put the collar on her. And what we didn't realize, we borrowed a carrier, and it got left upstairs in Christina's room, and then it got shoved in the hallway. We forgot to take the bedding out of it. Mama couldn't itch or scratch herself, and she picked up fleas. Now they all have fleas, right? So now we have 4 cats with fleas. And we're trying to, we're using the knit comb and whatever else. But what we're finding out is like with young cats, you can kill them. You can really hurt them. And I saw something the other day, too, even on one of my Facebook feeds, where this poor cat was bleeding from his nose and didn't want to eat and was on death's door. And they finally tracked it down to one of those stupid air purifier scent things, the plug-ins, whatever. And they tracked it down. They got rid of that, and the cat came back, started eating again, and it cleared up. The cats are really sensitive. I mean, dogs are too. A bigger dog can tolerate more. So we're trying to figure out, we don't want to be giving them anything. Mama seems to be a lot better. I said to my daughter, I said, you got to take that damn thing off. Look, there's blood stains all around the neck region. I'm like, this cat, don't worry about, it's been almost like a week. Don't worry about the surgery. I looked down there. It looks like it's okay. She's going to be so busy scratching and itching. And then she's going to be taking care of her kittens, which is ultimately what happens. So Christina's been really good about it. Like, she uses a bit of soap, like you need to use like a baby soap and some water with the knit comb, and you kind of go through them, and everybody gets a bit of a bath, and you just keep at it, and then they're cleaning each other and themselves. So we're almost there. We put a call into the vet, but she didn't answer us. Like, we wanted to know, is there a collar you can put on? Yes and no. Not for the kittens. I mean, they're getting pretty big, so, but they're still kittens. We'll get there with it. We're learning. But yeah, because they get on us. And then this morning, the female cat, they sent me a picture. I forgot to completely close my door, so they know how to open doors. And she was on my bed, on like my pillow. I'm like, great. Now my bed's got fleas in it. Great. I remember when Apollo, my dog, had fleas so bad. He was so, because he's, dogs like that, they don't clean themselves. Big white husky, and they have really thick hair. And it took us a while to get rid of it. I mean, we did, but he was a mess for a long time. That poor guy. Yeah. Wait. Oh, wait. Roxy was just here for Pets Meow. Weirdest song I ever heard that I loved was MacArthur Park. Yeah, I like MacArthur Park. All the gays like it too. But it was a really good song. So what? Who cares if you're gay or not? Are you gay, Johnny? Really? Shop talk with Brett. Brett goes, he must be the runt. He is a bit of a runt, but he's got the big eyes like Mama and everything. Eventually I'll get pictures. Just like I said, I take them on my phone, and then it's just such a pain in the ass to transfer anything Apple to a normal computer. See, Arch, I told you cats are great. Yeah, great. Yeah, just great. Best cat flea droops I use are Advantage 2. Yeah, they said not to do it, though, with the kittens. Not yet. Frontline is what I used on my cats. Yeah. Yeah, I also heard that you just put it on for a little while. Don't make them wear it too long. Just to kind of zap the fleas down and get rid of them, and then take them off. Don't use it regularly because they're just inside. But Molly was out of the house at the vet, And then we brought her back, and she had that collar on, so she was never able to really kind of go after the itchies and whatever and eliminate them. Because generally, most animals, if they're licking themselves and taking care of themselves, they'll get rid of the eggs. They'll find all that crap. That stuff is annoying them. They'll get rid of it. They just eat it. So bizarre. But they are really cool. Like they're fairly well behaved. They're not mean. They all get along with each other. I'm like, you can't break up the band, ladies. Like this, they get along. They love each other. They sleep with each other. They do different things together. I'm like, that's not a guarantee. I'm like, where are you going to find that? And it kind of comes along with the responsibility. I told my daughter, I said, when you bring this thing in, I said, you guys are going to be responsible for whatever happens. You know, these are God's children. Like this is these cats. So turns out Mama Marley, right? She doesn't, Liz brought the girls over a couple of weeks ago. And then we've had some other people around. Yesterday, my daughter's girlfriend stopped by. Mama does not want to talk to anybody but us. She stays away. She's like, looks in. Some of the kittens, the runt will stay with Mama. He's, like I said, he's kind of scared. But the other three, or whatever, or two, or whatever, the female and the one black male, they don't care. They want to play. They want to have fun. Play with me. The front line didn't work for Dawn. All right, see? I had to deflea the house, yeah, and the cat. Try front line, yeah. It can happen, sure. Yep. Well, some of it is genetics. Some of it is the kind of flea. Also the time of year. How, we don't have a lot of rugs or anything. And then we did clean some of the throw rugs, but then Christina pulled them up. She said, no bedding, no throw rugs. I'm like, well, we got to keep them out of my room and everything. And the female fell in the toilet a couple of weeks ago because they jump up on the counter and everything in the bathroom to get into the window so they can hang out. And, she's a bit of a ditz, and she fell in the toilet. I heard kaplunk, and then I saw something run out, and there was a trail, and I'm like, oh, great. And my daughter had just walked in the house. I'm like, T, I think the female fell in the toilet. Oh, great, Dad. That's just great. Can't you watch them? No, we got to clean them. Oh, yeah. We may have fleas here. Yeah, we did. We have 2 Chihuahuas that are here, and a Shopee and Dolly. Nice, Robert says. Better get them a cat tree. Put it near the window. We do have a cat tree, yeah. They go on it sometimes, No, they just use the windows. This particular window is kind of up high. It looks out over the backyard. And it's in the bathroom. And they tried other windows. Like, they do have some other windows they look at. But this is their favorite. And so once it becomes the favorite of, like, one... And then they all have to be together at some point, and they try to figure out how to fit in there, and it's hysterical. Oh, that's crazy. All right, let me go pee. Hold on, let's just put the lady on, and I just want to see if you guys can figure out or have any ideas, because Big Mike brought over that drag behind, right, the tow behind, and it didn't run right. So it was like a 12 horsepower flathead Briggs, and it does have the Nikki Carburetor. So I just wanted to run that real quick for you guys. I mean, it'll be a video, but I wanted to see what you guys think, because it does run better, but he's mad because I had to charge him because he wanted it right away. And he's like, it does the same thing. I'm like, no, when you hear it, it does not do the same thing. But it runs fine, okay? But I think you could hear it through the video. I'm hoping at least, because you know how this is. And one of the problems I have as a YouTuber, especially anybody that does small engines, is you try to capture what the sound is of the engine. And of course, when people are more used to it, like some of us that are doing this more often or every day, you kind of know. But it's not like being there, right? Like I'm not trying to get like the best sound quality audio, like hi-fi, quadrophenia style. But hold on, let me, I know everybody says Nikki. I know Nikki, right? Nikki, don't lose that number. Yep. We'll get another one. We'll get another carburetor, but he had to have it back because he broke that beautiful machine that I gave him, set him up with. So, I'm like under the gun. I can't just rip everything apart. He wanted it by the weekend. I needed to get it out. You know, when that's the parameter, I took the carburetor apart. He had it apart. By the way, he actually did a good job. It just was a little bit of dirt in there. He replaced one of the gaskets, one or two of the gaskets. But I'll show you that in a minute. Let me see. Do we still have... What happened to the lady? I just need a quick beep, but we got to, you know, we got to put her on for a second. Yeah. Here she goes. Oh, jeez. Oh, I feel so much better now. You gotta move aside there, lady. Move aside. Let me see if I can find... I'm gonna have to go find it, because I had this ready for last week, but, you know, last week didn't happen. So now I gotta find it. Let's see. I started putting this stuff in a folder because it's going to be, well, I don't know if it'll be one of the next videos or not. I don't know what's going on with my videos. I'm so busy, I don't want to do anything complicated. You know, the least bit complicated. You know, because I could always, you know, wait till the winter and, you know, when it gets cooler out and I don't have to do all of the stuff that I'm doing. And, at this point now, I don't, you know, what's the difference if a video comes out? If I do a lawnmower video in December, what does it matter? I mean, only a handful of people watch it initially, and then YouTube makes me wait at least a year before they put it out. So what does it matter, right? What's the difference? Let's see. That's Mike's Sunstar Deja Vu. No, we don't want that. I don't need that. Let's see. Pretty sure I made a folder for it. What I did? What did I call it? Is this it? Yeah, here it is. All right, so let me see. Sort of cue it up. So when I was outside... you should be able to hear it on one of these. Now, it was either that one, 725, or in this folder. Nope. Let me just hear that. Let me hear it. You're not going to hear it yet. Oh, yeah. Yeah, wait. Yeah. Hold on. All right, we need desktop audio on. And then we need right monitor cue. And then I'm going to kind of shut my stupid mouth off so that you can hear it. At least you didn't stop her in midstream. I watch your content as it comes out, Brett says. Thanks, Brett. All right, so this is after I rebuilt the Nikki. And like I said, Mike had been in it. I will show you. And of course, you'll see it when the content comes out. The only thing I could say might be somewhat suspect is a tiny little O-ring that wraps around the jet that drops into the plastic thing, right? So those of you that know, you know what I'm talking about. But there's a minute, and I'll see if I can find that. But first, this is kind of what it was doing, and I will get you guys in real tight to the carburetor when I do the video, because I'm able to do that digitally as well as optically. But here you got to get what you're going to get. Don't get upset. I'm going to crank up the volume, and I'm going to shut my mouth, and let's just let this section run. You see the carb spitting out? I have it. I actually am taking some footage of that with this other camera. So this is 725. And that means that I should have that footage. And it should be, let's see, where's the angle of the dangle? It would be maybe this one. Let's see. You hear it? I hear it. Is it this one? Let's find out. No.
All right, so what's happening is...
No, it won't be that one. I took that footage. I wonder what I did with it. That was with the air cleaner off. Yeah, here we go. All right, I'm coming back. Hold on. And let's see what you guys say. And let me just reverse this. Now, I'll give you the sort of before and after, right? And then we'll take a quick peek inside the carburetor. But we're doing sort of, even though this is after I cleaned the carburetor and when I did the ignition, there was almost no gap on his ignition coil. So I cleaned the coil, cleaned the magnet, put, some lube on the gear, lubed up the starter motor, put all that back. He had cleaned in there. It was really good. He painted the inside. You'll see in the video, he did a beautiful job on this machine. He did almost all the work on this machine. But he wanted to see if I could get it running right. And the problem is I had to charge him because I had to go, plus I put different tires and rims on. I just a whole bunch of shit to it. But this is like more of like a diagnostic and a going over this thing and checking everything he did. So it took me about a day and a half. It was really hot out. This is after I put the AC in the garage. So I was able to go in the garage and do most of this work because it was like in the 90s, fellas. And we had another like 90-degree day. And I got to say, I'm so happy that I spent that time, kind of earlier in the season to put that AC in because, oh man, life has been much better. So let me see. Let me go to ask you guys what you guys think. Let me go to split screen and bring that back. And let's see. And let me go start at sort of beginning. Have some wine. Nikki Carburetor. Those Nikki Carbs are absolute shit, Brett says. Give me a wall, bro, any day. She's pissing on a Nikki Carburetor. Robert's laughing. Brett says, at least you didn't stop her midstream. I watch her content when it comes out. That can cause, that can cause issues. That O-ring has to seal properly or you will get this symptom. And Robert says, it's definitely starting to starving for gas. Intermittent rich condition, Brett says. So when it pisses out, when it's farting backwards, okay? Typically, that's a valve problem. And the O-ring that was on this little thing, it was not missing. And it may not have been I didn't think it was in the greatest shape. And I kind of get in close, and I'll see if I can find that right now so that you can see it. Again, this is something that, we're always better off, when everything is sort of, put together in a video and not ad hoc like this. And I'm thinking that was, let's see. So before I get to that, I want you guys to hear it running properly. And let me listen again.
All right, I can see down in there. That you might be able to see, but that choke blade is max.
All right, now I want to show you this.
I want.
So let me get rid of split screen. Right, and then get rid of me and go to right monitor. and then kick this on. So here's what I've been noticing.
I see there's a little mark here. What I want to do is I want to put a paint marker on that. Let me get some gum out of something to clean that off. We'll put a paint marker, and we'll put a mark to what I would consider to be max. She don't really run right at max. She's not really tuned, but at least you'll know choke is off. That's as far as you can pull that thing out, that lever out here, before you either get into choke or cause a problem. So I might want to put 2 marks. Let me fool around with that. I'll show you what I do. All right, so what's happening is as you pull that lever out just before it hits full choke, it's upping the RPM. But when you get a little too high, about 3,400, she starts to fart. Let's take the choke, the air cleaner housing back off, and let's take a look to see where that blade is.
Let me see. That's on that camera. Do I have? One of these videos, I have it running really well. I'm not going to make any more adjustments.
It levels it.
Worse, but I'm not sure where that is. Because again, it's not... This is ad hoc, right? So I'm grabbing this shit. One of these videos... So I towed it behind my snapper just to give it a test, and it ran really good. So... One of these, I think one of these, I was testing RPM.
All right, so what's happened, choke?
Let me back up. So I measured the RPM.
You hear it? I hear it.
Okay. Let me come back. All right, let's see. Desktop audio. So part of the problem... There's a few problems going on here. And you could say, well, the Nikki Carburetor is part of it, but maybe not. Because as that lever, if you pull that lever all the way back, it's choke. If you push it forward a little bit, or almost all the way forward, like initially when he brought it here, it had no idle. It would not idle. I guess somebody did not know how to tune that. Nikki Carburetor has a pilot jet, adjustable pilot jet. And I tuned it. I also had to adjust I call the curb idle or the throttle stop. The actual throttle blade throttle stop screw. Got that spring on it, right? So I tuned that and I adjusted the pilot jet. And then I checked the RPM in 2 different locations by pushing that rod. And so once I had a nice idle, which I think I brought up to about 2,000 RPM, somewhere around there. Had a nice idle. And then as you pull that lever out, when you get to around 3,200 to 3,400 RPMs, that it likes that. And I put a mark, and you'll see it in the video eventually, I put a white mark and a yellow mark. I said the yellow mark is as you're pulling it further out, the white mark is not as far. And if you listen to it, it runs very nice, very sweet. It doesn't pop back, doesn't do any of that. You can hear a very, very slight miss. Very slight. But it's not spinning. It's not spinning anything. I said it's not under load. Once it's under load and you adjust that RPM, it's fine. Part of what's happening is the motor's getting older. The valves are not sealing as well. It's a flathead. We need to go in and check the valve clearance. Because if the valve clearance is closing up, the valve may not be shutting properly. And that has nothing to do with the carburetor. Because if an intake valve is getting stuck open a little bit, you'll see it pop out or pop through the carburetor. Also, if you're trying to overspeed the engine by fighting too hard against the governor, Hondas do this. Honda will do that. It'll make you think the carburetor's bad. No. It's the spring is in the wrong location or the governor arm is not adjusted properly. And in this case, if you keep pulling on it before it hits the choke, there's a long distance between pulling on it and putting more stress on the governor as the RPMs go, like hit 3,600, which you do not need for this, and then finally entering into choke. And I said, if you pull it too far, she's going to pop like that. And it does. If you push it back to where I put the marks, that's between 3,200 and 3,400 RPM, which is fine. Anywhere between 3,000 and maybe 3,300 should be fine. And it cuts nice and it runs strong. And overspeeding the governor, people will look at the Nikki and go, it's the Nikki, it's the Nikki. No, you're not necessarily looking at the bigger picture. So now I thought it ran really good when I was done with it. And at some point, it's a older single slug Briggs & Stratton engine. You could put a different carburetor on it, put a Walbro on it. I said to him, get a Walbro, put it on, or give it to me, let me put it on, but let me go in while the carburetor is off, pull the rocker cover off, and measure the valve clearance, and let's just see where we are. But also, it's an older motor. I mean, if the valves even aren't seating all that great, you could check the valve clearance, maybe pull the head off, clean all the carbon, pop the springs out, lap the valves back in, see how they're sitting, check the clearance again, put it all back together with a fresh head gasket, get all the crap out of the way, put another plug on it, put a Walbro on it, readjust RPM, readjust the carburetor. But it probably will still have this very slight. So I think he might be thinking that it should run like a car engine or something. None of those motors ever ran like really, really super sweet. It's not like my Subaru engine. And by the way, I did the same stuff on 190cc, a couple of the 190cc engines, overhead valve Briggs engines. And whether it had the aftermarket carburetor on it or just the standard Briggs carburetor on it, they all run like that. Not like what I initially showed you, but they all have this slight little... They all do that. My Subaru, I dug my Subaru engine out and put that on my pressure washer because I just got sick of the Briggs engine. Because they don't run all that good, and that's an overhead valve. I mean, they don't run terrible, but it's not like my Subaru. My Subaru is a chain-driven overhead valve engine with a really sweet, extremely expensive carburetor on it, with all of the adjustments you could want, right? I mean, what are you supposed to do? I mean, the Nikki isn't great, but I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Let me go see if I can find that little O-ring, a shot of that little O-ring, and let me see what you guys are saying. Intermittent enrichment. Plus, if that funky gasket O-ring is even the slightest deformed, it screws everything up. Now, he bought another one, and I put it together. Or if the O-ring or the idle mixture screw is messed up and cause this, or improper valve clearance. Yep. It's blowing back through the carb, and that usually spells valve issues. Yep. Brett said. Johnny says, does it have separate idle pilot? Yep, it does, as I was just explaining. It only has a separate idle pilot. It doesn't have an adjustable main jet because it's that stupid little thing, which I'll show you, and a fuel mixture adjustment screw, air bleed, blah, 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 blah. Weak spring. I think the governor is working fine, but if you pull too far out, you're trying to overspeed the engine, and it's not going to let you do that, and it'll make it look like it's going. Like I said, the Hondas will do that too. I've had some Honda engines, lawnmower engines, fight me for whatever reason, right? And oh my God, right? Like I just wanted to throw it out. But most of the time they don't do that, but they can. Especially as they're getting older. Valve lapping time coming up soon, Robert says. Yeah, I think so. Brett says factory setting on that mower is around 3,200, give or take. Yeah, right. It's just a 12 horsepower single slug flathead, right? It shouldn't be running all that fast. But when you're pulling it towards 34 and change, I said, Mike, it doesn't like that. That's too high for it. It's not supposed to be like 3,600 RPMs. It's way too high. It's not going to give you that. And you're going to fry it. And you don't need that RPM. It's got these two big blades. Like I said, it's in nice shape. This thing's in nice shape. He goes, do that again, Arch. Just kidding. Yeah, yeah. Let me see if I can find that little stupid shit. I don't think I put that up on here yet. That would be what I call an OBS recording, where I actually recorded that on the bench. Same way I'm doing a live right now. I have the camera connected to the computer, and it records right to the hard drives. So I don't think that's up on here yet. Let me move you guys over. Let me go to OBS. And just see, do I have it handy? Handy? Yeah, I still got to put that Subaru. I ran over the Subaru engine and I popped it on my pressure washer, and I'm very happy. But I never did put that video out. I'm so far behind. What am I going to do? It is what it is. Well, eventually. The more complicated videos take a lot longer to, not just to record, but to put together in an edit. And, it's just a lot of work, and I just haven't had the time for it. Is that it? Let me see. Yeah, I think this is it. It may or may not be. Let's see. No, I don't think this is it. I don't know what I did with it. What's this one? Oh, I think this is it. Yep, this is it. Yeah, let me find it. Now I'll bring this over to here. Hold on. Let's see. Let's bring the check. Might want to bring it up a little more. All right, let's bring it up to that monitor. Yep. Audio's up a little bit more. Right, shut up, Arch. Check. Check. Yeah, hold on. This might just be a test. That should work. Just lightly pulling it. Oh, it's coming. It's coming. Just a little twist. See? Now, all that is good. Like I said, he replaced that, and it came off okay. Now, it's in good shape, but they tend to distort. Let's get to the little jet. I'll run this See through. The jet? So, there it is. I think she's got a little O-ring on her. Yeah. Now, when I put it back together... Let's get a magnifying glass. Ring there. This is Alumabrite. It's so small. So this is for... I need to get a tool for that. Just bought this. Now let's see. Do I show me fooling with it? Yeah, good. Now there is some debris. It was pretty clean though, overall. It was just a little bit of schmutz. Car pretty quick. Because the world needs another carburetor video on YouTube. See, there it is there. Sit down. I'm sitting down. Oh, yeah, that got bent. Yeah, I don't know how that got bent, but that was all mashed. Yeah, somebody didn't do something wrong with things. I don't know how that would have happened. Yeah, well, somebody mashed it. It would probably fall. Right. So I'm just showing, well, if you put it one way, it's no good. So if you put it the other way. Part of its issue. So what I'm holding in my hand right there is the jet, and what I was doing was at some point this guy on is I was holding it in my hand, and I'm not going to look for it right now, but I'm coming back. And so I was like holding it, and what I noticed when I looked underneath the magnifying glass with my glasses on, it looked like the O-ring, either dirt or little pieces of the O-ring, and I'm like, ooh, there's a little something there. Let me pull it out of the way. We don't want that getting caught up in there. So I said to Mike, Mike said, did that little O-ring come in the kit? He goes, I don't remember. I don't think so. I said, it's really small, Mike. I'm like, it's got to be this. It's for the jet. I said, that would be if you ever got another kit or anybody gets a kit, you got to make sure that O-ring comes with it, because you really need to replace the O-ring on the jet. And if you don't, you're wasting your time. I said, so that could be part of it. The O-ring wasn't broken. It wasn't missing. It's not totally deteriorated. But if I'm scraping little pieces off or trying to pull them out of the way, real micro with my thumbnail, I'm not happy. I shouldn't be doing that, right? And I don't have another one. And like I said, he needed it back. So that's the problem when you're a mechanic and somebody says to you, it's not running right. See what you can do. And they need it back within a couple of days. And like, I can't order anything. I can't stop. I can't go in deep to everything and do all of this stuff. I can't. I'm not allowed. I don't have the time to do that. Like, you wouldn't see it till sometime next week if that was the case. So it runs well. It runs very good. It's within the correct RPM range. I went over a bunch of other stuff. There's no junk in it. There's nothing really wrong with it. It's just not 100%. And he says, that sounds like a wintertime thing. I said, yeah, because now he doesn't have a lawnmower, either that or the Skag. Either he's got that thing or he's got to use the Skag because he damaged the Sunstar. And I think I showed you guys a couple of weeks ago, right, some shorts that the new used sacrificial Sunstar is here. Okay, with the motor, with the big Kohler Magnum, it's here. So at some point we'll get to that, but he doesn't have that beautiful Sunstar to cut with. And it's a big property, and it's very difficult to stand on the back of the Skag and go over this huge property with all of the ruts. And we're getting older, and, he's had some health issues. It's in the heat, in the sun. It's not fun. That kind of rhymes. I'm a poet, and I didn't even know it. So that's that. I just wanted to run that past you guys. Maida goes, oh, crap. Yeah, you missed all of it. I'm not going back over it. Maida says, oh, crap. Yep. Yeah, you missed a lot. Yeah. But how long have we been doing this? Hold on, let me see. Where are we? Let's see. Where are we? Because I haven't been doing too many videos, I do a little bit longer, live show. Oh, we're an hour and a half. That's not bad. We're almost done. Today I did get a chance to do a little bit pressure washing, and I pulled the lathe. I pulled some more parts off the lathe, and rinsed them. Pulled them off, brought them outside, took some of it apart. Is that a fly? Yeah, it's a fly. I think it's a fly. I don't know if it's two or it's a shadow. He's not going to live very long. Because if that spider that usually lives up there catches him, that wolf spider, he's not going to be around. So, and then brought it outside, super cleaned it, some of the parts, pressure washed it, and brought it back in, and then dunked them all in some Caro. And clean them some more. You have to, because it's all machine metal, you have to do something as soon as you're done pressure washing it. That's why I didn't pressure wash like the whole headstock assembly, because I really didn't have the time to go through all of it like that. Once you hit it with super clean and water, it's going to start to rot. So I had to bring everything back in and go through the sort of procedure of dunking them and cleaning them a little bit more, and then drying them off with a rag and blowing them with some air. Tomorrow what I want to do is, I'm at the point now where really I have to take the entire lathe apart and slowly refurbish everything. It's just no point. I can't see doing it any other way at this point. I need everything correct. Everything has to, everything there looked fine. It looked good. The only real damaged part I have, I'll show you a couple of pieces of it, is the tools holder. And to get that right, everything else has to be right before it. That's like the last thing. Hold on. I'll just show a couple of pieces of it. So tomorrow, it's all laying out on my table. I have a small area in the back where I have these shelves I set up a while ago. I want to clean off the shelves, make more room over there. However that happens, I don't know. Day, 2 days, whatever it takes, and start boxing up all this stuff as I clean it, even if it's half cleaned, putting it on the shelf, labeled properly, all the associated bolts that go with whatever a sub-assembly. It doesn't have to be fully clean, but cleaner, and then break the lathe down, section at a time, and refurbish the base and all of that, and start building it back up slowly. that's the only way I can do it now. So, and I want to do as much as I can in the nice weather because I'm out there pressure washing and I'm using kerosene and it stinks. And it's nice to have the windows open, and I don't want to be doing that in the winter. I could see, finalizing it and putting it together and painting and stuff like that. But this stuff, when you start closing up the windows, the paints and everything, they stink. And then you open the windows and the doors, and then you get cold, right? Or this time of year, you lose all your AC, which is no fun either. Yeah, I am, Bravo. Yeah, Johnny. Let me show you a little piece. Yeah, it won't be out until I get to a certain point with the lathe. Plus, like I said, I'm so overwhelmed with these more complicated videos just in general that, I don't know what to say. I'm not ready to do a lot of it. Yeah, let me find a couple of pieces. I'm just trying to crank on as much work as possible and do as many things while it's nice out. I record whatever, but I'm not really worried about doing a video. Yeah, here we go. I just kind of breeze through it, so don't get nauseous, because I'm not going to spend a lot of time. Let's see. The mic is on, desktop audio is still on. And let me cue it up. All right, we're prepping out. Well, that's loud. To get this thing washed, and I'm going to bring it outside and pressure wash it. And we're going to use some super clean, and we'll blow it with compressed air, and we'll get it in a bath of kerosene, and then we'll oil it lightly. Now, what I mentioned earlier was that we should be able to take out this entire shaft here, right? So no, but it was stuck.
Lead screw, very heavy.
Yeah, so it was stuck. So that's the apron with the lead screw. And then the day before, I was doing this. And because it was stuck.
Now, so you can hear, I could put it on my...
So I used the overhead crane, and Big Mike set me up with this, with the pull chain and everything, so I didn't have to carry it. I wasn't sure I don't remember if it was heavy or not. I decided to separate it from the entire top assembly, and it was because it was getting stuck. I couldn't get the lead screw out. It was stuck. I got it out today, no problem, but it was just, everything is just getting stuck, so I'm just kind of breezing through it all.
Flush something else too.
So I got that part. Yeah, all right, that's good enough. And then I was able to bring it all. Oh, yeah, here you could see it here, right? Because some of these parts are really, really heavy. So I'm like, well, I need to figure out how I can lift this stuff. So here it is swinging.
I'll wheel this over to the table over here, but we're going to pick it up. And I got to figure out how I want to clean it. But here's your half nut.
Yeah, that's the half nut. So let me go to the next day. Here's it on the table. I got it on the table. I modified this lift table. This table's the adjustable table that I use. It's not the one in the other room in Studio A. This is Studio B.
Oh, I just need to make something.
And then I got to this part. And I'm just kind of talking about the lead screw has a key, that's in the keyway in there. And what I did was
capture it.
I jammed a plug in there because I didn't know how it came out. So I don't want to lose it, especially with the pressure washer out in the yard. So I made a little plug to put in there.
When I'm done painting, I'm going to come back over and really get. You can see. Really kind of highlight.
It's nasty
with like circles or colored dots or something.
Yeah, whatever. That's not that pertinent. And here's part of the cross slide.
Moving and to see work on the ways, but yeah, there's like remember.
It's pretty crusty.
Sticky. The thread is.
Yeah, nothing wants to move. And I got it in the bucket. with super clean.
Now we can switch off, and I'm gonna start layout for piece goes to put it back.
All right.
There's some green down there. I don't know what that is. It could just be grossness from people's hands or from some shop, but it looks like there was either. This looks like mold.
But they would have been black though. And then let's see, I got all this cleaned up, and then at the end of it,
Well, this looks pretty good.
cleaner. Not done with it yet.
Not fully disassembled, but we're getting there. It's getting cleaner, and it's not rusting. I started taking apart this, and I haven't gotten everything apart yet, but it's getting there. Yeah, this was pretty clean, but it was jamming because it was so much crap in it. It goes in there. There's still some dirt in the gears. I can see it here, but this all has to come apart. But at least now I can take it apart, so it looks a lot better. I'm not going to try and pick it up and turn around the other way, but yeah, it's getting there. And there's still some more crap in there, but you know, the ways look pretty good, and that gib looked good. I don't know if that was Barry or Andy Gibb, but this looks pretty good here. So it's clean enough. Hold on, let me see if I can flip it. It's heavy. You can see there's a lot of junk in there still. That's got to come apart. And there's still some rust on it, but you know, you got to get the debris off of it. Oh, it just touched gross. Hold on. The rust removers don't work when there's this much gack all over it. This came pretty clean, although I couldn't pull it fully apart yet. This keyway is stuck in there. I tried getting it up. That's a separate issue. We can pull that apart. But I got enough, you know, Caro in there and blew it out. This is pretty good, right? This whole lead screw. There's a little bit of dirt. I didn't get as much back here. There's a lot more still in there, but she's a lot clean. Yeah, she's still kind of jammed in there, but it's getting there. So now, I'll probably take it one step at a time. I think maybe we'll do this first, since that kind of is first. Get in there, we'll take it apart, we'll deburr it, we'll get all the rust off of it, we'll make sure everything is nice, no burrs, no horrors. A little paint on it, go over a little bit at a time. And here's another one. I mean, we'll paint it, but this is another one that if maybe at some point in the future, I'll fire up my plating, my little plating stuff, and we'll get it nice and clean, and we'll put some zinc on it, and then maybe we'll have gold iridite or something like that. That might be nice. That's for later, right? We have a long way to go before I get to stuff like that. And then this will be a separate issue. I'll put the camera up on it and, you know, completely document taking it apart. We're going to have to go through everything on this. Yeah, but she's working, and I don't see anything really worn. It's still really filthy.
All right, I'm coming back. So a lot of that is going to be done. That's why I'm going to put it all away right now. The way it is, associate any nuts and bolts, put them in boxes. That's not going to rust anymore. And just each section is going to be a separate day for me. You know, put aside whatever hours I have or at night or whatever, and just focus on that because it's overwhelming. There's a lot of moving parts. Other than the tool post, it doesn't seem like anything is broken. Like, I'm coming up with numbers that, yes, there's some wear and there's some horrors. I mean, it's 110, 115 years old. But it's there, and it seems to be working. I got it working. You know, I showed you guys some footage of it. I even put a little short out on it that did pretty good. I can't cut anything with it, but it physically moves. I worked out the issues with the motor design and the pulleys and the conical pulleys and all in the belt, and I kind of worked all that out. And now it can be. That's another thing. I'm going to photograph and videotape me taking all of that apart, because I'm not going to remember how I got it all back together and figured it out and fixed it. But that's all got to come apart. The motor has to come apart, be cleaned, and I want to put a reversing switch in as well. This way I can turn the motor in reverse. I should be able to do that. So there's a lot. There's a lot here. That's why I decided to just keep doing what I'm doing, box all the stuff up, put it away nice so I don't lose any little screws or anything and damage it. And then when I want to work on a section, I take that out, I put it up on the table, maybe fire up the camera, take some footage, and do what I can, and then put it back, right? Or put it on the machine. So now I have to go to the base, and I have to take off the motor, and I have to take off the headstock, and I have to take I got to take the whole beam apart and make sure all that's good, and then I'll be painting this stuff and putting it back together. And yeah, this is a labor of love, but it's really cool. Like, I gotta say, it's kind of a neat project. It is definitely a divergence from what I would normally do, but it's a lot of fun. So I do enjoy doing it, but I need a system. Right now is when I'm like, okay, you got to create the system. You need a storage spot out of the way, out of your normal day. So I'm going to try to do a lot of this tomorrow. If I have to finish up a little bit Monday, and then I have to go back to work, right? I have jobs to do. I've got all these little projects and stuff, and I got stuff for Big Mike to do as well. I got a pro bono work, some pro bono work for him, and I just finished up some pro bono work for Mikey, and he's going to pick it up probably in the fall, right? And I have another job to do for him that's money. And I just did a little pro bono piece, which I'll put up, sort of fixed a hedge trimmer, like an Echo head, one of those long extension that can do all of this shit. I did that for Contractor Mike. And so I had some pro bono stuff. I mean, it's barter. It's barter work, some of it. Because the fellas will try to help me out for the YouTube and plus stuff that I like to do, right? It's off the beaten path, hobby, right? Because not all of this is for money. Like, a lot of what I do is hobby, including the videos. So it's nice when, I gotta say, it's nice, fellas, that when you can do something for money and for YouTube, and some of it's hobby and some of it's for money, and it's really nice when sometimes you can't tell the difference. Like, you can get lost in your own world and forget about the world outside and all the horrors going on or whatever, and just be in your own world. And you don't need stupid chemicals either to, like, I don't need to smoke pot or drink or anything. I mean, not that that's bad, but I can just kind of get into my own head, shut everything out, just enjoy myself, go in, pester the cats, come back out, go back to work for a little while. Nobody's really bothering me. I try to avoid the phone. I mean, I get people calling me and everything, and, I schedule them. Sorry, busy right now. They don't have to know what I'm doing. Hold on, let's see. Let me catch up with you guys. So, yeah, Johnny Brown goes, I hope you're recording. You'll work on the lathe. Matus says hello. Robin Mills says, put a Kawasaki on better built Kohler engine. Mike had said to me, Big Mike had said to me that he goes, what he really wants for that tow behind is a Cowie motor. I'm like, yeah, bro. Totally. But no, we will not be putting anything else other than a Kohler Magnum on the Sunstar. It's too much work. They tend not to come with the output shafts on both sides, crankshaft both sides. You need both for this setup. So we've already got plans on that. But on the tow behind, a Cowie motor would be nice. He already said it. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point he sends me a picture. Look, check this out. And there's a Cowie motor on this thing. Or we're going to put it on together. Or I don't know. He goes, looking at snapper back there. Yeah, I towed the thing around with the snapper just to test it. Boneyard did a video on his old school drill press. Yeah, right? Oh, I got to check that out. Yeah, I see some nice stuff. Iron Jonesy, check him out. He's a Brit. He's a younger fella, and he's a Brit. Iron Jonesy. And he's over there in England, and he's got in the shop that he made, which is really cool. He's got all the overhead shafts with the big leather belts coming down to all this old iron that he's been restoring, machine shop style, right? And it's just amazing what this guy does, and how he has to fight with frozen shafts that are this big, right? And machine equipment that he's got to lift with all manner of equipment that he's got. And he doesn't actually have a lot of equipment. And he's got it sitting in flames and coal and putting fire on it and torches on it and quenching it and slamming it with, hammers. And Oh my God, it's just hysterical. And this guy, at one point, he got this shaft out of this big, huge, like drill press, and he's laying on the ground. And I think I wrote to him, a well-deserved break, bro. You're doing good. He's finally gets it out. He's laying on the ground, just like passed out, right? Oh, it's awesome. Check out Iron Jonesy if you like that kind of stuff. It's just fun. It's good fun. He's got a lot of machines already that's already done. He waited. What he did was, I think he came out with the channel a bunch of years ago, but at some point he waited until he had enough material sort of done and uploaded. You know, he had a few up there sitting and waiting in YouTube, and then clicked the public button. And then he kept going from there, right? And he actually uses this stuff. He does some jobs with it. He gets some jobs and makes some money to compensate. You know? So yeah, check the backlash. Bravo goes, check the backlash on your cross slide on that brass piece now. If it's sloppy, now is the time to change it. It's easy to get to. And no, it doesn't seem to have. I'm not seeing all of that. Like, I've been checking backlash and everything. We'll get there, okay? We'll get there. We'll get there. I'm so far away from details like that, you know? Brett goes, I haven't done a video in a good while. Nothing here worth filming. Film all kinds of stuff. You never know what's worth it. You know, one of the things I've learned is that you think it's not worth it, right? But you don't know what other people think. I have over 1,000 videos, most of which sit in my computer. Over 500 I've put out, and honestly, of the 500 and something, a lot of those I deleted, so it's more than 500. And I have seen stuff that like hit, that I was like, what? Why did that hit? And then meanwhile, I have other videos which I think are pretty good. They have like 135 views. And then other videos will get like 20, 30, 100,000, whatever. And I'm like, why is this one for 3 years sitting there with 150 views? I'm going to get rid of it, I guess. So nobody wants to see it. There's nothing wrong with the video. But meanwhile, people are watching something else. I'm like, what? I mean, now I have a little bit better understanding of what to put out. But who cares? Really, at the end of the day, you don't know what somebody else is going to think. You know, you really don't know. I mean, yeah, like I said, there's some videos I know I've actually redone a few. And I've done it, you know, with the better cameras and a little bit more knowledge. They could still be better than what I did because it was a few years ago. But they did really well. Why? Because I redid something that was doing well, and I just kind of put a new spin on it and with better equipment. Nothing wrong with that. But other than that, a lot of it is like a crapshoot. You take the dice, you go like that. No, you don't go like this, fellas. No, you go like that. Blow on it. You throw the dice on the table, and you see what it is. If you're not a hustler, I'm no hustler. So if you're not a hustler, it's pretty much whatever, you know, maybe it's snake eyes, maybe it's not. I don't know. You don't know. You just don't know. So you could put up almost anything. You know. Let's see, you haven't done anything. Maybe when I get a new garbage disposal, I'll review it. Looking at the Incinerator Evolution 1, continuous feed one, 4-stage grinding. Ooh, nice. Yeah, people might like that. If you like concrete channels, check out Victory Outdoor Services. Yeah, I'm not really that big into concrete. I've watched some of those. Now, reminds me too much of the years working with my friend Arthur and his father. Mixing concrete and dragging it around and wheelbarrowing it and getting mixing on the ground and on a piece of plywood and humping 13 bags, gotta get, you know, and then even working here when we put the foundation. There's good money in concrete, right? But yeah, I do not want to mix and look at concrete, really. You know, no, not my thing. It's beautiful when it's done, right? I would like to have a new concrete garage floor and a nice driveway pad out front. I'd watch that. Yeah, I don't know if that'll ever happen. And then if I because we wanted to extend for the longest time, we almost extended the garage out to be even with this building, and I'd have a lot of room in there. You know, maybe one day. You know, I don't know. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be around, but, you know, we can dream, fellas. We can dream. Bravo goes, who cares? Put out what interests you. Yes. If people watch it, awesome. If not, so what? And, you know, absolutely. And a lot of it, too, is, like I say, I have videos out there that YouTube just does not show. For whatever reason, they just don't show it. Maybe I got the title wrong. Maybe the thumbnail isn't good enough. I don't know. I mean, at some point I'll probably delete it because it does drag the channel down. You know, I've talked about that many times and why that is. But, maybe I'll get around to it. I mean, occasionally I do clean up my channel. I kind of go through it and I make some tweaks. And I have seen it where there's been a couple of videos where I've retitled and I've kind of cut out, doing it on YouTube with the YouTube editor is like a hatchet job, literally. But I've had some success doing that. I've tweaked a few and I'm like, ooh, all right, that one's, is getting something. But you just don't know, and especially if it's for a hobby, if it's more hobby oriented, then absolutely, film it. And there are these people that do really well and they basically film like every stupid thing that they do in life. Like, that I don't want to do. Although I wouldn't mind like a little smaller camera at some point in the future to sort of drag around with me to kind of catch some of those quickie impromptu shots. They make good B-roll. To add to something. It's easy to, like to grab a cheap camera. And when I say cheap, under like $1,000 or under with that, all of the stuff to connect it and magnet mount it and, like a GoPro or something. Something I can get wet or that can be outside when it starts to rain or when the smoke and the fire is coming out of something because I'm banging on it and torching it. Or I just want to it's lightweight and I just want to magnet mount it to something real quick or just put it on a quick stand and grab it. I don't want to use a phone for that or whatever. Sometimes I use these, but these shake too much, right? They're not stabilized well. So that would be nice, right? To have, or a real small one that you can mount on your hat or stick here so you can get that sort of point of view, the POV. That would be nice to add, to my sort of tool bag of, well, it's a video tool. Think of it as a tool. There's money in this crap unless you're mowing yards for free. Yeah, yep. Yeah, there's no money in this crap. But, it is the thing, this is people that cut people's lawns for free. And by the way, they make good money on YouTube because people like watching that. Brett says, 6-bag, low chert air, microfiber, 5 slump, half NCA, huh? Robert goes, Malice goes, I made a video on cutting the tire off a rim because it was not coming off the bead rim. Yeah, I made one of those where we cut it, we flame torched it. It doesn't really do that well. Me and Mikey did that. That's because it was an ATV tire. And I didn't know at the time, but ATV rims are made so that the bead doesn't jump off. And if you think about it, that's a good idea because if you're out on a trail somewhere, it's not like a lawnmower, right? You don't want that bead coming off. Because as long as that bead doesn't come off, you can plug it and pump it full of green shit, slime, and you can get back to base and not have a horror. You need a special tool to drive that tire off the bead, and I didn't have it. He's like, I just want to get this tire on. I want to go riding this weekend. I'm like, well, get it off. So I filmed it. We're hacksawing it and sawzalling it and flame cutting it, but nobody really watched it. We used fire mostly to get it off. Burning it, cutting it, ripping at it. We got it off. Once we got it off, the new one went on, no problem. And we did the both of them in the back. Yep. It is what it is, right? But nobody really saw it. Nobody really watched it. I mean, I don't think it has like 100 views, but it doesn't have like any real views. And some of that stuff, I think after 3 years, I've got some videos that like are 3 years old. And they, like I said, they have like 150 views or whatever. I don't see how YouTube will ever show that, right? If you're at 3 and 4 years and you have a video, let's say like my channel, you have some videos that do well, and then you have videos like that. In my view, get rid of them because no one is going to watch them. And these days, not that many people go back to a channel and start, watching all the old stuff. I mean, I'll binge watch. I was binge watching Iron Jonesy for a little bit because he was doing some really cool stuff. And I wanted to see what it was like when he first started. He started like most of us. You can't hear him because the camera's here and he's all the way over there talking, right? Leaning up against something. You can't hear him. You can't really see him properly. And as he's working, the noises in the shop are getting in the way of the audio because he didn't have a good mic or a good camera. And some of the footage is shaky, right? And then now it's not like that. But I think he started, I want to say, I think I saw one from 8 years ago. So 8 years ago, you know, the equipment wasn't all that good. And not everybody has a few grand to go out and invest in equipment that can get you, you know, premium quality 4K grade, you know, no shake. You just do what you can, right? People get mad. I don't know. They'll be fine. I think one guy said something recently the other day. Don't watch this guy. He's probably a New Yorker. I've had people totally insulting. And one guy says, you put a commercial on, I'll never watch any of your stuff again. It was for HIPAA. I did a HIPAA carburetor install, and HIPAA gave me all the stuff. So I put a little, like, short, little, you know, thanks to HIPAA, and a little icon popped up and whatever. I'll never watch. I said, that's right, you will never watch me again, because now you're banned from my channel. I don't need your shit, bro. Get out of here. All right? Don't ever watch this guy. Don't watch me. Good, banned. Now you can't. Idiot. Trolls. Don't worry about trolls. Don't worry about it. I mean, you don't want to be really shitty. I mean, if you can level up and get better at what you're doing, great. You know, look, watch your videos. If your videos are lacking, you should watch your videos and look to see and critique it. You know, not going to shatter your ego or whatever. So what? Just check it out and be like, all right, compared to other people's videos, what am I doing that I think is wrong or that isn't good enough? All right, you know, or like I've been shortening a lot of like little pieces and things. And I'm like, that's too long. Let's get rid of that. They don't need to know that. F them. That's too much content. That's too much information. F them. And then sometimes people say to me, oh, you didn't show the part where, you know, oh yeah, I did, but I cut it out. Sorry, bro. But people, you know, most people don't want to see that. The video is already getting too long. Sorry. You know, or they'll ask me stuff on one video. Why didn't I, you know, show it all? I'm like, bro, that's on other videos. They're like, well, which one? I don't know. Go to my channel and go look. And I don't remember. I've got over 500 videos. I've got probably 2 years worth of videos in my computer. I don't know. Right? I've been doing this for 5 years. I don't know. I don't know. I know I got one. I just don't know. There's a big body of work out there. And I've had people hit me up on email and they want me to like personally answer like their questions as if I work for them for free, you know, and I'm supposed to give you very, very personalized attention. How about no? That's what the videos are for. No. How about no? I mean, I wish I could, but like I'm so totally, you know, dog for time, I can't. Let me see what you guys do before I get out of here. Let me bring up this thing here. Just to make sure I am where I am. Let's see, where are we? Oh, we're at 2 hours. Yeah, so we could go. Hold on, wait. He goes, I made it me cutting up the tire. Yeah, so I'm going to have Lowe's install the disposal. And he goes, I'm a mower mechanic, not a plumber, right? Right? You sound like what's his name from Star Trek? Damn it, Jim! Right? I'm a doctor, not a bricklayer. Remember that episode with that thing that like bored tunnels and underground? And he's like, Can you fix this thing? Damn it, Jim! I'm a doctor, not a bricklayer. Because they had to make some kind of mortar to fix that thing that burned its way. Remember that? Get him, John. He goes, I notice things that annoy me most of folks' vids I'm guilty of doing. Yes, Johnny, absolutely. Me too. Of course, right? But we don't see it when we do it, right? We don't notice it, right? Or, you know, you could say something too often, like I call it filler words. It's like when people go, or they'll say some little cliche thing. I'll say maybe, right. My neighbor goes, you know what I mean? And he says it a lot. Like we all kind of do that, but we're not really aware of that we're doing that. But if you watch your shit, you can come back to it and be like, ooh, how many times did I need to say that? That was stupid. You know? That's why some people write out scripts. I don't. I might make some notes. I always keep, you know, some kind of notepad. And I've been getting better too. I've been logging stuff on my my whiteboard and my clipboards. Which is good. I do need to go through them. I need to set up an area over here that's a little bit better with my file cabinets like I used to do. Been thinking about that, and I know what I want to do when I get to it, and organize all these files and what have you better. Because why do I, why? It's not that it's hard to look up something, but if you've done something in particular and you make notes on it and then you put that away. I mean, I used to keep all kinds of books on things, before videos and everything. That's what we did. So, because they noticed the thing was, yeah, the world is just full of unhappy assholes. And he goes, that love to try to make everyone else miserable because they are unhappy themselves. That's so true. Yeah. Sadly, I mean, that's not everyone. There's just is some people that are like that. And for whatever reason, they think it's a good idea to knock on your door and try to bring you down. That's an ego issue, actually. That means they're insecure about themselves. And like you said, they're miserable. You should be happy for somebody else's success. Especially because usually, because successes usually come at a lot, after a lot of failure and trying, the hard times, right? The work that you have to put into something before you start to see some level of success, and the mistakes. So if somebody's starting to finally get successful at something, it's because they've been most likely put through the mill. For most of us regular people, unless you're like some of the rich elite and everything is literally just handed to them. And you know what? They can't do anything because they suck, because they don't really know how, except to make everybody else's lives miserable. Like these idiots. Maybe it's the elite people that are commenting. No, I totally doubt that. All right, fellas. I'm going to go. I want to go see. I might want to have like another hot dog. Been kind of like browsing the refrigerator because we got to go shopping again. But, I just made a whistle sound. It's because I have like no teeth left from all the crap that I've been through. Speaking of all the hardships and everything. Yeah. So... But, like my neighbor just was going through some stuff, and I was talking to him. I've been talking a little bit more, just trying to encourage him. And he was looking at his father-in-law, who was like in his 90s and had cancer, all this other kind of stuff. He goes, I realized watching you, he goes, I thought you were going to die there for a while. I said, well, yeah. And he goes, I noticed between you and my father-in-law, he goes, I noticed the thing. He goes, you guys just don't stop. I'm like, no, I'm not going to stop. Like I'm when the good Lord pulls me out of the lineup, right, and puts me into the holy lineup, that's different. But while he's, you and my father-in-law, you guys just don't stop. You just keep going. Even if you're dragging your ass along, I'm like, yeah, because I'm not going to stop. And I'm not going to get all bent out of shape and pissed off and whine and complain about everything. There's so many cool things to do. Right, especially as we're getting older, fellas, right? I mean, if you've had any health challenges or whatever, I did my blood pressure the other day. I told the doctor this. I said, write this down, right? It was 125/70, but my heart rate was 77. But, I don't think I can get my heart rate down any better than that because of the diabetes. And when you take insulin, it will speed your heart up. When your sugar goes up a little high, it will speed your heart up. When your sugar goes down a little bit too much, it will speed your heart up. Like, I'd have to get involved in the kind of physical activity that with work that I do, I don't think I could handle it. It would hurt. It would hurt way too much and it would drag me down and I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing. And I can't run. And he goes, I broke my back and fucked myself up. So I can't run. I'm not going to go running. I might run out of a burning building. I might run after a hot chick for a few minutes. I might run after the cat if it got out, but other than that, I'm not going to be jogging. Those days are over. I can bike ride and stuff, but when? On Saturday night. Let's go for a bike ride, fellas. Let's do a live show on the bike. All right. Let me see. You go, shit, I'm way older than you. Yeah, but Johnny, you had said, though, you didn't have any really hard, physical challenges, though. That makes a difference. If you can avoid any of these stupid physical issues, then by all means, and you're in pretty good shape, you keep yourself good, so you should be all right. The idea, I used to say this to my friends years ago, I was always the one that was like trying to work out more and I tried to keep myself healthy. And you really think that you're going to live any longer? I said, it's not about living longer, fellas. It's about being healthier longer and dying healthy. Right, because you don't want to be. I've seen this with my parents and with others, where they're put in these homes and oh my God, and then they off them, with hospice care, which hospice care is basically they're ready to put you down, is what they do. They make you comfortable, and a little bit at a time, they put a little bit more anesthetizing things into your body, and eventually you stop breathing, and they go, oh, he had a heart attack. He's no longer with us anymore. They put you down. I remember my friend, I'll get you out of here on this, right? My friend David, God rest his soul, his grandmother, when they moved, the whole family moved to Florida. She didn't want to move to Florida. She was this tough lady, like Irish lady, really tough little lady. She did not want to go with them. She was tired of living with the whole family. She wanted to live by herself, and she did for a number of years. And I mean, she was old, like from the beginning, right? This lady was old. She would do everything by herself. You know how she died? A bus hit her. I mean, that's fucked up. Okay, but in my view, like it literally took to take that lady out. She was so tough. I'm surprised she didn't F the bus up. Like she was such a tough lady, and she was a nice person. And that was the worst thing. I'm like, I wish it was a little softer than that. Oh, what does Mike say? He goes, yeah, Mike goes, hold on. He goes, yeah, they just watch you die. Yep. And I've seen these with like my mom, like when the HMOs come out, that's what killed my mother. And I don't want to get started on that, but why I'm so dead against the medical system. I saw it back in the day, and I've been watching it play out, and it's gotten worse. And I don't even want to go there right now but yeah, just, it's a chase, and you just try to enjoy your life, and they're chasing you, right? And old man death is coming for you at some point. But you know what? If you can't defeat that, but what you can defeat is all the fuckers that are trying to get in your way between the time you're born and the time you got to check out. Right, that you can try to defeat, and you can stay on top of it until the last moment. And if you're a good person, you're most likely going to go into a really cool place. And the more I look into that, which is a whole nother story, but the more I look into that, I'm like, that would not surprise me at all. I'll see you guys. Thanks for stopping in and hanging out. We're a little bit past 2 hours, so I think we're good to go. I'm going to kill it.